on solid ground.
Hello, this is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. I am your host of this motivational and inspirational podcast. And today's word of the day, javelin. A sort of spear about 5.5 feet long, the shaft of which was of wood but pointed with steel. These things were used by horse and footmen in the Roman days. If we think about javelin in today's time, we're thinking about Olympics when the men are out throwing this long stick, a distance for measurement. But as I was reading in regards to David and the Goliath, and how when he defeated Goliath, Saul had used this javelin to throw at David because of his anger towards David. And he also threw it at his son, believe it or not. He had a very hot head, or very big temper, whenever his jealousy got out of hand towards David. And David, was a young man. Of course, I have done David and Goliath. And he was small. He was small, and he was able to beat this large Philistine who happened to be Goliath. And he used his mind instead of his body or weapons. He used only one weapon, and that was a slingshot. But he learned from God how to use that slingshot. Well, in this case, the javelin was used towards David because of the publicity or the popularity and fame that David had received in this time. Although Saul did take David in, the jealousy of David became very apparent. And when his jealousy became pretty much out of control, the javelin was used to kill him. And this is a very dangerous weapon when you think about it in these days and times, back in the days of David and Noah and Moses. These weapons were very dangerous. They were very pertinent for them to defeat the enemy. But when those that you take in as your friend becomes your enemy, it's that much more devastating because you don't understand why. Well, I feel that this is important because we are reading the Word of God, and we need to understand the weapons that are being used. And in this case, the javelin was being used by Saul and possibly by others in the Bible that I have not come across as of yet. Or maybe I have and didn't recognize it. But this javelin is very dangerous, and it is a killing weapon. And if it's flung right and hit right, that target, it can be very devastating to those that are in receipt of this particular weapon. So today's word of the day is javelin, which is a very sharp spear, about 5.5 inches or feet long. Feet long. And it has a very short steel pointed end due to hurt or harm someone. They probably also used it, and if I remember correctly, some was used to hunt animals as well. So it can be a good source of a weapon for an enemy or to retrieve food, but it can be a very dangerous weapon to those to do harm or to kill. And we want to understand this as we read the Word of God, so we'll know what is used and what we can picture in our mind, what it looks like, and how dangerous it was in those days and times. This is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. You have yourself a wonderful and blessed day.